So how you doing? Working on the 245A, the Poulan, and then we're gonna start pulling some numbers off of this, so we can get into the meat of it, if you know what I mean. So let's just go ahead and get started. Gonna work at getting my bearings reinstalled on this, and this is probably the most difficult part of the job. First, I'm gonna get these rings off. While I'm at it, I just want to take a quick gander at the ring gap. Oh, it's huge. It is massive. I don't know where my feeler gauge is, but I'll tell you, we're not measuring in thousandths. We're measuring in eighth of an inch or more. So it's huge. But let's go ahead and work at getting these bearings installed. This is probably one of the most difficult parts for me. The bearings are so tiny, you know. Get these tiny needle nose here going. Let me count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14. I can set that down and work and get the other side together. This is like performing surgery. One wrong move and you got to do everything all over again, you know? Just one wrong move. I usually try to do this without the piston on. Let's see if I can do it with the piston on. Looks like I got it on the first try. As long as I get this other screw in, we got it on the first try. Let's celebrate that. Boy, that don't happen, you know? If I remember correctly, this is a weird size Allen wrench. I'm gonna have to dig for one. So there we go. It's like performing brain surgery almost, getting that in there, you know? Alrighty, we're zeroed. You ready to start seeing the numbers? Alrighty. We're sitting at about 70 thousandths of squish without the base gasket. I got a pretty good idea what I'm going to do here. You see that? That's how much I want to remove off the base. So I'll come back to you whenever I'm done and I'll show you what it looks like. Alrighty, so this is where it starts to get interesting. We are actually many hours later right now. Many hours. I've been working on the squish, doing basically getting as much as I could. and take a look. So there's what she looks like. So here's what we got. Without the base gasket, we were coming up at 70, I think it was 70 thousandths. The base gasket itself is 35 thousandths. That would put us at 105 thousandths of squish from the factory. Now, my goal was to improve the squish 30 thousandths. Couldn't go that far. So basically I ended up in a free port. Took just a hair too much is what happened. It's in a slight free port situation. It's not much. It's something we can fix. But let me pull up this camera here and show you what I'm talking about. Just a slight free port situation. That's a little more than I prefer to go, personally. So, here's what I'm doing. So I actually took in, Doug showed me, or Doug had sent me one of these before, and I'm actually doing the same thing. We got $2 bills glued together, made a gasket out of $2 bills. I'm going to stick that in there like so, and after all that I bolted it down. The free port it's right at the edge, like it, you know. Well, let me show you. So that's what it looks like with the $2 bill gasket. Now I bolted it down. And I checked the squish with the dollar bills in there, and I'm at 43 thousandths. So it's not quite as far as I'd like to be, but it's good enough. Remind me to pick up a new one. This one, it's not zeroing out on me anymore. So I'm having to do the math. But it won't zero. It's stuck. Remind me to get a new one if I forget. But 43 thousandths. Now that from 43 thousandths to 105 thousandths, that's a huge difference. We should notice a considerable gain in, or we should notice a pretty good jump in compression regardless. But I don't think I can go any further. I actually wish there was a little less. I wish it was just a little bit better than this, but I think till the motor seal's in there and everything, I'll be pretty happy with it. At least I know it's as far as I can possibly take it. And from this point on, we're working numbers. In fact, why don't I just do that? Let's go ahead and get this re-zeroed. Alright, now let's see. Let's see what our exhaust number is now after this adjustment. $107. So 18 degrees of blowdown, 107 43 thousandths of Squish. Now they don't give you much room on the transfers to work. So the difference between this edge and this edge, you know, there's not a whole lot of room to go. I can go a little bit. But if whatever adjustment I do here, I have to do it in the crankcase as well. And the crankcase is actually, I don't know, it's a little bit thinner than I prefer. But don't give you a lot of room to play with. So I'm trying to decide what numbers to go with. Now these transfers are considerably bigger than most others, or than some others that I've worked on. I'm going to show you something. Remember how if you watched the porting class, you've seen how I said I like my transfers to kind of be shaped in like a pyramid shape, bigger on the bottom, smaller on the top. Here's an example from the factory. This is what they look like from the factory. And you can see, I can imagine these have, so you can see kind of that pyramid shape on the bridge. You can see it. It's probably one of the reasons these ran as well as they did from the factory. But there's not much room to play with around these edges though. They didn't give me much room to play with. I can take this out, get rid of this, help improve the flow there. But they did not leave much room between these edges. As you see, from there to there on the inside, you see it? There's not a lot of room to play with to open it up that way. I could go down some, but not a lot. So I think we're going to see a boosted compression now. And I think that boosted compression alone is really going to be a game changer in this saw. If you know what I mean. From the factory, what was this? This is probably about 100. I'm thinking about setting this at 101. 43. Transfers 100. Now, I'm thinking about taking it to 100. Is what I'm thinking. Let's put a ring in and see what it would look like. How much material I'm looking at. Take it to 100. And I'll probably take it to 101 here. Just kind of round it. I'll probably have it flat from like this point to this point. Would probably kind of be flat, and then the rest of it would round down. Looking to remove some of the piston skirt. You can see there what I got drawn. You can see there what I got drawn. That's because that kind of protrudes down into the crankcase and would restrict. That kind of protrudes down into the crankcase and would restrict flow. So just I'm thinking I want to get rid of that. Homelite actually does that. I'm sure there's others. So this is a 925 home light piston. You can see how they do it. This piston is actually thicker, a little thicker. So this piston, being that it's not as thick, should turn more RPM because it'll be lighter. This is actually quite a heavy piston. Holding it, it's got some weight to it. But that's what I'm thinking. So far, transfer work, getting there to that piston skirt area, taking it to 101. I going as far as I can with the Squish. So, yeah, it should turn some RPM, and it should do it with power. It should perform well, I'm thinking. But that's where I'm at. Finish grinding this up and put her together and see what she does. You know, this actually turned out really well. She is like perfectly flat. So I'm limited by free porting. You know, I'd go further, but I can't. The free porting is going to, get me. But, so until next time, we'll be getting this ground up and moving on with the assembly. So I think that's where we're at. Kind of curious to see what the compression is at with 43 thousandths of Squish. You know. You remember what the compression was when we started? But that's where we're at. And I'm kind of enjoying this project. But we'll catch you on the next one. And we'll get to grinding, making this a little bit better. Alrighty, later.